Well, now we're back, and we've got a little bit of science from the last mission. So we're going to get those desperately needed solar cells. So hopefully I won't have to deal with the reading the capacitors every single time. Or we had to do that like 7 or 8 times in the quick little moon flyby we just did. Now I've got this Scanbot. I'm going to send it up into a polar orbit just to get a height map scan of Kerbin. I think it's maybe 5-7 science, but every little bit counts. This is going to be a pretty straightforward mission into a polar-ish orbit. It's not real essential that it gets to exactly 90 degrees, but just close enough that the scanner will get 100% of the surface area eventually. The height map scan goes pretty quick. Now, I didn't detach the first boosters there, but now the set of 2 boosters gets detached together, and we're gonna skew north pretty sharply. This is a terribly inefficient launch. I've got plenty of Delta V to spare, and it'll work just fine. I'm trying to keep my apoapsis to a little bit less than 150, going for about 100k there. And once I get a second here, we can start set up communications. Don't want to lose comms. And although we do have an Omni antenna on there, I guess those might have been superfluous. Now there's no way to point the craft right now. We don't have RCS and or a SAS reaction wheels, so I have to use the engine to point where I want to go. Got a little bit of gimbal on it. Can't wait till we get some more technologies. Let's get that scan started. Get the orbit circularized so that we're not going to fall back into the atmosphere. And keep an eye on our power. Activate these antennas just to give ourselves a little bit extra comms if we need it in the future. I keep clicking on the SAS button, but it's not there. There is no SAS. I turned that option off in the game settings so that all probes would have all SAS, but apparently it's just ignoring me, probably conflicting with one of the mods that I've got installed. I think I'm up to about 17,000 modules that load. The game takes about 5 minutes to load. See, that scan's going really quick. And time warp, of course. And I didn't plan this, but I lucked out that we're in a sun stationary orbit, so the solar cells are always getting power. I did not plan that. It just happened on accident. And looks like we're almost up to 100% of the surface area with our little ScanSat map there, and up 4.5 science. Well, every little bit counts. Now we're going to go back and get some science from the Space Center. I've got this little guy made up with 4 material settings, and we're going to do some ridiculously dangerous and bad flying. This is really difficult to do if you don't have the radial SAS node set up, which we don't have yet because Jeb's not experienced enough. I'm going to use the little red dot from the Kerbal Engineer and try to get over to the comm station here, but oh no, no, no! Ah, parachutes! Oh, oof. Well, we survived. Collected a little bit more science from the Space Center, and gonna move on to our next mission. Now, we have enough to buy one more, so we've got one more tech in there, and now we have SAS on our probes. So I'm going to stack this up with batteries, put lots of solar cells on it. And give ourselves a comm dish right up front there. Some more comms dishes, because my plan with this is to do a flyby of Minmus. More batteries. Got to watch Ampere to see how long we can maintain batteries. It calculates the electric usage for everything attached, even though I'm probably only going to be using the top antenna, at least initially. I put the extra ones on there, so I can leave this in orbit of Minmus, and it'll provide a little bit of comms out there. We need some comms to start off with when we get to the launch pad, and we're just going to launch with a solid rocket booster and some more solid rocket boosters attached to it. Give us a little way to steer while we're in the atmosphere, and here we go. Nice nighttime launch from the Kerbal Space Center. Accelerating straight up. Nice and smooth. Passing 2,000 meters. And staging. Gonna go ahead and activate that top antenna there. And whoa, little sparks there. Something broke. What was that? That was... I'm not sure what piece that actually is. But, okay. We'll keep going. See what happens. Our acceleration is up around 4.5 Gs. That's a little bit high for this level of the atmosphere. We are going really fast. Oh boy, this doesn't look good. We're going too fast. Too fast. Too fast. Uh-oh. What? Are we going to make it? Come on. No! Lost our comms antenna. That thing creates a lot of drag. Okay. Let's lower the thrust down on that solid rocket booster. And I'm actually just going to make this into a comm satellite first. I realized that before I go to Minmus, I really need to have a comm sat up. And we're going to make use of the fairing from one of the mods there, KW Rocketry. I've got the minimalist version of that installed, but fairings are definitely useful. And yes, I'm going to use MechJeb because I need maneuver nodes. The fact that I can't even go prograde, have the ship point to prograde, I think, is a little bit absurd. And I realize it's kind of one of the difficulty settings, but I think it's one of the sillier difficulty settings. I've done literally at least 2,000 launches in this game. I think I know how to get into space. We'll go ahead and activate those antennas. Point one at the MUN. Point the most powerful one at active vessel. Point another one of the smaller ones just at Kerbin. And we're going to take ourselves up to a kerbosynchronous orbit at 2,868 kilometers, 2.8 million meters, and that'll give us a 6-hour orbit, which for Kerbin is kerbosynchronous. And because I have the additional ground stations, it's not as essential that the orbit is exactly kerbosynchronous. We really just need something to extend the range of those ground stations, because the only ground station that has near infinite range is KSC itself. Another option is to just launch a craft and leave it on the ground at the launch pad at the other stations. You can just leave a craft out in the desert with a pod or a radar, a radio antenna pointed straight up, and some solar panels on it. Now, in order to keep the solar panels always in the sun, it's important to return the craft to normal orientation, because our solar panels they're not sun tracking at the moment. Now I'm just fine tuning the orbit. Take the engine down to about 5% thrust so I can get really fine adjustments, and there we go.